Hi, I'm Tina, and welcome back to Front Room Studio. This weekend is Open Farm Days here in Alberta, and we've been visiting some fiber farms to see where the magic begins. There's something incredibly special about meeting the animals that give us the fiber and touching the fiber fresh from the source. This here is some mohair from Angora goats, and this here is some Wakaya alpaca fleece. Alberta Open Farm Days are all about connection, meeting the farmers, the animals, and the fiber that makes our handmade lives possible. This weekend, I spent some time with some shy Angoras, some curious alpacas, and we even stopped at a dairy. Come along for this fiber-filled adventure. That we visited on our tour was White Treasure Farm and Angora Goat Farm. John Henderson is the owner, and he owns not only Angora goats for their fiber, but he also has La Mancha goats. You'll see them running around. They look like they have no ears, but they're adorable and they're really friendly. There was one in particular that was really friendly that we got to pet, and he raises those alongside the Angora goats to produce milk, because he said that his Angora goats, they spend most of their energy raising the fiber, or like growing like the fiber, the hair, the mohair, so that they don't produce as much milk sometimes as they need to, especially if they have twins or triplets. So he raises the La Manchas alongside of those so that he has enough milk for all of his goat babies. On his farm, we got to take a look around, and he has several different pens. He had some where we could get really up close, but the Angoras are super shy. They're not super friendly, but we got to get in the pen with him, and he explained all kinds of things, like what he's been doing and how long he's been raising goats and what he raises them for. So he primarily raises them for not only just good fiber, but he was raising them for the longevity, so that their fiber remains really good over the span of their lifetime. So typically, kid mohair is the softest and the nicest, and then as they get older, the mohair gets a little bit coarser. So he's working at breeding so that they have more years of nice, soft, next to skin fiber, as opposed to coarser at a shorter period of time, if that makes sense. And we also got to feed some of the goats. Now, they had a bunch of branches there for us to feed over the fence, but unfortunately, the Angoras didn't want to get too close to us. A lot of the La Manchas came, and the kids got to feed them, and we had a lot of fun just getting to see them up close. My husband spent some time talking to the gentleman there about their fencing, because that's one of the issues we have on our little homestead. We have just under 3 acres. I think you saw in the opening clip there some of our sheep and goats. We just have right now 2 baby doll sheep and 2 Nigerian dwarf goats, but we plan to expand that a little bit. So he was talking to him about fencing, because that's one of the things that we want to expand, is get more fencing. What we did really enjoy is that they had a couple of fiber artists there who were working with some of the mohair from his goats. One of the gals was super at explaining how she does different types of spinning, how she has her spinning wheel set up, and how she prepares the fiber to be used to spin. And she was spinning some there on a spinning wheel, and she also gave us a demonstration on her different Turkish spindles. She had one 3D printed at the library, not in our town, but in the next town, so we could go and see if we could get one of those. I think that's really neat. She uses a little David's tea can to hold her little teeny tiny Turkish spindle. I'll let her explain to you how she does the 3-ply if you're interested. If not, you can skip ahead to the next part.
I'm making 3-ply as I go.
How?
So on the bottom here, I don't know if you can see it. On the bottom is my single-ply loop around one of the arms for 3-ply, if you've done chain plying.
Yeah.
I park the loop onto one of the arms. Then I make single on the shaft. Then I wrap it off onto my hand, pick up this loop again,
And you're chaining it.
pull through the loops and do 3-ply chain ply in the opposite direction. Wrap it onto the spindle, park the plying loop onto one of the arms so I don't lose it, and come back up to the top and do more single. So that when I'm finished, I take the arms out, and I already have 3-ply finished on the spindle, and I just have to set the twist after that.
I have never worked with mohair. I did buy a bag of kid mohair. So it's a pound of little locks of mohair. I'm going to try to spin that up. It's kid mohair, so it should be really, really soft. I haven't got a project in mind, but I did wash some of the fiber already. And you can see that the locks have come out really, really clean. And I just used a little bit of unicorn power scour, some hot water, and then I rinsed them once, and they were clean. So I didn't fuss with them too much so that I could get right to spinning them. So I let them dry, and then I carded a little bit just to open up the fibers, and you can just see how beautiful that is. And this is how the ladies had it in their little basket, and then they were spinning right from this. So this is what I plan to do, at least at the beginning. I don't know if I'm going to wash the whole bag like that. I don't know, but there isn't a lot of waste on here. There are not a lot of second cuts, so I'm really, really excited. And if you don't know what a lot of those terms mean, I will get to those in later videos. I'm probably being a little bit nerdy about this kind of stuff because I just love this kind of stuff. I've never worked with mohair, and it's on my list of things to spin. I am a really new channel, but I'm not really new to the fiber arts community and to all of the different granny hobbies that I like to do. I'm assuming because I'm a young channel, you really don't know what I'm about. My name is Tina, I'll say that again. And I am a multi-passionate person. I love to knit, crochet, sew, quilt, and I love to spin and make wonderful things for my family, for myself, and for others. So that's something that I love to do. I've been doing it for a very long time. I have 8 kids, so I haven't had a lot of time to hone all of the skills. I kind of have always been just kind of burst of energy, do the thing, and then put it down. Do another thing, put it down, and do another thing and put it down. So I hope to share with you a lot of the different creative outlets that I have, and I hope to inspire you to try some of the things, or maybe give me tips or suggestions on things that maybe I should try or share with you here on this channel. We did spend quite a lot of time at the Angora farm. I was asking lots of questions and learning lots of things because, to be honest, I'm a fiber animal collector wannabe. So I just wanted to know if an Angora goat would be something, or little goat herd would be something that would work for our family. I don't think it's something at this moment that we are looking at expanding to, just because I just don't think that fits quite our vision for our farm. So that's not to say that I don't love Angora fiber or that I won't buy more. I just probably won't get any Angora goats for our particular farm. The next farm on our tour was a dairy farm. Now I know it's not a fiber farm, and I can't even drink or eat any dairy unless it's raw, which is illegal here in Alberta unless you farm it yourself. You can consume, and you can raise your own animals and consume it yourself, but everything else has to be pasteurized and put into the system. We have 2 Nigerian dwarf goats that we will eventually breed, and we will eventually milk and make our own dairy products. All that to say, I have a tender spot in my heart for dairy cattle because I grew up on a beef farm, but I grew up with my aunt and uncle, and my uncle's brother was a dairy farmer. So we spent lots of time on a dairy farm. And then when I was a little bit older, I think between I was 10 and 12, I worked as a mother's helper on a Jersey farm, which was also a huge dairy farm. And I just love dairy animals. I wanted my kids to experience that because we don't have family or friends around us here in Alberta that have a dairy farm. And we went on a little tour around the farm, and they showed us where the pregnant mamas stay, where the milking cows are. We got to visit with the calves, and there were games there, and we got to ask questions and listen to the farm's vet. He was giving us the tour. They had different people doing the tours because it was a really popular farm on the Alberta Open Farm Days. So we got to see all the things, and they have a shop. You could buy ice cream and cheese, and they had lots of wonderful dairy products that we can't eat. The kids hung out with the cats. I hung out with the horses a little bit, and as you can see here, one of the horses had a little itch, and I just had to scratch that itch and get rid of that itch. But his buddy didn't like that so much. So we didn't stay too long at the dairy farm. We called it a day, and we went back home and just kind of took it easy because we knew the next day we were going to visit the alpaca farm. On Sunday afternoon, we took it was almost a 2-hour drive to visit Twisted Sisters Mill and Sunny Hill Alpacas. Oh my goodness, we were in love. I had signed up for the tour, like you could take a tour of the mill. I'm going to share with you some of the mill footage. Now, it was really hard to get good footage inside there with the way the lighting was, and it kept changing depending on where we were, and because it wasn't an exclusive tour. So I hope you'll forgive me for not having the best of footage, but I will give you a walk through all of the different things that I got to see. I met one of the owners a few months ago at a Fibre festival. She was wonderful, and she's willing to sell us some alpacas in the future. We're not quite ready. Like I said, we are talking, we're still in the preparing infrastructure, talking fencing and what we all need to set ourselves up properly to get alpacas, but that will likely happen within the next year or so. So we did go to check out where the alpacas live, because I did buy, so at the Fibre Festival, I did buy a bunch of alpaca fiber from them. It's raw. I haven't washed any of it yet. I've worked with alpaca fiber before. It's a little bit trickier to spin, but that being said, it is lovely and soft, and it's just so good. So good. Anyway, back to the tour. We got to see where they, skirt their fleeces.
There's nothing done to it. It's not washed. It's nothing. They've taken and shook the dirt out of it and skirted off the real dirty parts. But you can all come up and touch it and feel, if you were going to pet an alpaca, this is what it would feel like. So come on up and touch it and feel it.
And so they have this massive washing machine that we got to see, and it holds 6 pounds of fiber, and you put 2 pounds in each of the 3 compartments, I guess is what it's called. And to wash it, they will fill it up with hot water and put the soap that they use to scour the fleece, and then that'll drain. It doesn't agitate at all. It just drains all out, and then it fills back up with cooler water. Like, they'll have to wash it a few times, and then they put it out on the drying racks, which is really cool. Like, they have several drying racks there. And then once everything's dry, they'll bring it in, and then they will put it through the picker. I have a small tabletop picker, which works great for small amounts, but they have a much larger picker, which is really great because they can do a lot more at a time, right? And you can see how clean the fiber comes out right after that one. And then you know what? I'm going to let her explain the rest of the tour. And just bear with, some of the lighting is bad. It's a bit jerky, but I'll do my best to get it cleaned up so that it's easier to watch and just enjoy.
This is a fleece that's been washed. So you felt one out there, you can feel this one, and you'll be able to feel the difference. The first thing that we do is we pick it. This is the first machine. It's got a roller on it with a bunch of big teeth on it, and all the teeth do is they take the fiber and they pull it apart. They open up the fiber is what it's called. And as they open up the fiber, they also knock some more of the dirt and dust out of it. Because even though it's been washed, it's still got dirt in it. Just because the finer the fiber, the more it pulls the dirt. So you can feel this one. This is a washed fiber. Then you can come around this way and you can feel this one here in this room. This has been picked. And now the fiber is open and it's ready to start on the next process. Any vegetation that's in it, this machine will take it out. I won't start this machine, it's quite noisy. So it goes through this machine. It's a series of rollers. They're different sizes, different shapes, different cloths on them. They all pick up different amounts of vegetation and helps with the cleaning of the fiber. So this machine is the dehair devegetator, and it's a two compartment. As you walk by, you'll see one is quite dirty. The next one is relatively clean. It's just not as soft a fiber. So as it goes through this machine, it knocks more of the dirt, the dust, the guard hairs out. This one again is more of the coarser fibers, and all it leaves is the best of the best in this bin here. So you can feel it as you go along, and you'll see how soft it is and how clean it is after it's completely done.
That's crazy. Oh, this is the clean stuff?
Yeah, this is the clean stuff.
Wow.
green carder is if you're going to make sock yarn, you have to be able to put nylon in it. And we make a lot of sock yarn. The Patrick Green will take nylon, the Belfast Mini Mills carder would not. So this is what nylon feels like. It's not nearly as soft.
It's okay.
It's not bad, but it's not as soft as alpaca, but it has
Okay.
a great durability.
Okay.
So if you were to make socks out of 100% alpaca, they would wear out in the first week, but you add nylon to it and you'll get a long-lasting product. So that's why we add nylon, and hence why we had to go with the Patrick Green carder. And if we're going to make a roving, if you were a hand spinner, that's where it would stop. You would put it in a plastic bag and you would send that to the customer. You would take it home and they would put it in a basket, and it would then become ready for them to start spinning on a spinning wheel or a drop spindle. But we're going to make yarn out of it. So on the carder here, every 3 feet, there is a black mark. So what we do is we take a ball that's been pre-weighed. It's a 30-gram ball, and we spread it out evenly on the conveyor belt. That's going to feed this is going to feed the carder. So the more evenly I spread it out, the more evenly and consistent my roving is going to be. And the more consistent my roving is, the more consistent my yarn is going to be. So if I have thick or thin spots in my rovings, I'm going to have thick and thin spots in my yarn. And when you go to knit it up or crochet it up, you're going to have an inconsistent product. So you can all come back up to the front here, and I'll start this machine. We'll see. Lines, all the fibers, they're nice and straight and they're ready to start spinning. So you need this to have a nice, consistent, and everything's all lined up. So then when it goes through the spinner, it'll go through nice and straight, and it'll all be a nice consistent yarn. You take 2 of these, put it through this second machine, and you get 1 thin roving. So every time it goes through, it makes it a little bit longer, it makes it a little bit stronger, and there's a belt and a pulley system here that actually puts a false twist on it, so it helps make it stronger on both the machines. So by the time it's through the second time, it's strong enough that it'll pull itself out of the bins to spin. And this machine I'll turn on, and you can see it. The 4 of them will go through, puts a little twist on it, and then it goes into the bins here on the end. Brought it up, brought it through, threaded it through the spinner. So it's going to go from this wide roving to a piece of string. That's what we're making. It's called a single ply. You would never knit or crochet or do anything with a single ply. It's just not strong enough. You have to have at least a 2 ply, up to a 4 ply. We will spin it all out first and get our 1 plies made, and I'll turn this on. This one's a little loud. Turns and come and have a look at it, how it spins. And it just keeps going up and down and down. Goes on it clicks on the side of the machine and it holds the yarn, and as the spinner goes up and down, it wraps the yarn evenly on the bobbin. And if you blow a traveler, all your yarn will end up at the top and you have a mess. And this machine's a little noisy, but we usually try and run it at night so we don't have to listen to it, because we can't wear anything in our ears because we got to listen for different noises in the machines. Like, you know what your machine should sound like, and if it sounds differently, you know you've got problems. And if you do blow a traveler, it's only a matter of time till it actually breaks. This electric eye will shut the machine down. Normally there would be 6 or 8 bobbins on there. It has to be divisible by whatever ply you're making. So if you're making a 3-ply, you've got to have 6 bins. If you're making a 2 or a 4-ply, you have to have 8 bins, and it will spin them all evenly out at the same time. So this one runs in reverse. It has the same little travelers, holds it in place. It goes up and down and makes a nice consistent claw. So this is a 3-ply that we're making right now, and this is a 3-ply yarn. So this is what it would feel like. And then our signature yarn that my brother-in-law Kevin, the fellow in the pen, actually invented. It's a Lopi, a thick strand and one thin strand, if you look at it really close. And it makes a beautiful, soft, lofty yarn. And the reason it's called Pokemon is the very first time he ever made it, he made it out of our studs fiber, and his name was Pokemon. So the name just stuck, and it's turned into our most popular yarn. And it actually gives it a shot of steam. So as it passes through that steam tube, it's just like it kind of glues it together. A project that needed more than 100 grams of yarn, you would order it and you would have it left right on the comb. Therefore, you would have up to 500 grams of there would be no breaks in it.
Nice.
You wouldn't have to take it home and wind it on your ball winder. You would suddenly have a product that you could get started with right away. Because we sell most of our yarn in skeins, we would take that same cone and we'd go over here to the skein wise machine to make 100 grams. Then you tie off your ends and you would have a skein of yarn. And it's 100 grams. And if you were going to dye this particular skein of yarn, you would take it and you would fold it back and forth on itself like this. You could put all one color. You could put, if this was a white skein, you could put a pink and a blue and a purple. You would just sprinkle the dye on. You submerge the skein into the crock pot. You would cook it for about 3 hours, put a cup of vinegar in to set the dye. And when it came out, it would have about 6 different colors that would be variegated. But this particular one, we're going to put into the store for sale. So we're going to want to wrap it. A very simple process, a hook in the wall and a stainless steel peg, and that's all you need. And you have a skein of yarn. So then this particular skein would go into the store. We'd put a label on it, 100% alpaca, 290 yards. If you're a knitter or crocheter, you need to know your yardage. Or if it was for a customer, we'd put that same information on a tag, put it in a bag, and it would go back to the customer.
Now that you know how alpaca fiber turns into a skein of yarn, I'll take you out to see the alpacas. They had separate pens. They had one up close that we could look at that had this year's mamas and babies. Now they breed all, like not all year round, but they spread it out so that they're not all giving birth at the same time. And so you saw the babies, most of the babies there were born, I think between February and April, I think. And those are called crias, the smaller ones. They're so adorable. And they have like some of the mothers there. And then they had in another separate pen, the yearlings and 2 yearlings, I don't know what you call it when they're like 1 and 2 year olds that have been bred, but they were in another pen and they were just gorgeous. Like they were just fun to watch. It's kind of funny how one will go and then they all go. It's just like we saw at the goat farm, like one would come and then they all come. They had lawn chairs set up along the edges of all the pens in the shade, and some of them weren't in the shade, but like they had a bunch in the shade and you could just sit there and watch the alpacas. And they say they do that all the time. They have other, like they were in showing pens for us, but they're normally in other pens for the field. So they'll just take a lawn chair with them and they'll just sit there and watch the alpacas. And it's important as owners to watch your animals to see if there's anybody in distress, if anybody's having any issues and things like that. It was really hot that day, so every once in a while, the owners would hose the alpacas down, which was really funny because we used to do that with our pigs and, you know, make them a wallow. The alpacas don't need a wallow, but they do love to be sprayed down. They love to be hosed down on a good hot day so that they can stay cool and just do their alpaca things, just, eat their grass, eat their hay, and just go about their day. It was really neat to see. There was mamas nursing their babies. Like, I've never seen that before, and the kids really loved that. And there was one alpaca there who's three-legged. Her name is Booty, and she's the favorite. She's the star of the show. They used to have sprinklers to keep the alpacas cool, but there was some kind of accident that happened, and Booty broke her leg, and one of the vet that they had taken to for emergency wanted to put her down, but their own personal vet said, no, we can operate. So they amputated, because they're light enough weight that they could amputate. So they amputated the leg, and when she's not pregnant, she was with the mamas and the babies. She was not pregnant. She's super docile, and she lets everybody pet her. So my kids spent a really long time just staying with Booty and giving her lots of love. Apparently she's like really not nice when she's expecting. So the kids really enjoyed getting to pet her, and we got to learn a lot about the different alpaca behaviors and how they call to each other, and about different genetics and all those sorts of things. It was a wonderful visit. It was so much fun. I hope you enjoy watching the video and seeing the animals in, interacting with people, interacting with each other, and they're just a majestic animal. I just love them so much, and I can't wait to have some future, maybe one of those alpacas we saw today is going to be one of our alpacas someday. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would love for you to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. I'm going to try to upload a video every week. I'm a busy mom. I'm working hard on it though, to share with you some of the projects in the next video that I've been working on, some that I've just finished, and what's happening next. I can't wait to see you there. Have a lovely day. Bye.